Kitchen. My name is Micah and I'm going to guide you through new twists on Jewish classics. Now with the high holidays coming up, meaning Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's customary to eat different foods at this time of the year compared to other holidays. Hanukkah has its latkes, Purim Hamantashen, Rosh Hashanah has its apples and honey. And we eat apples and honey because it signifies the start of a sweet new year. In fact, the greeting that we say during Rosh Hashanah, L'Shana Tova U'Matuka, actually means have a sweet new year. So it's only fitting that we're going to use both apples and honey in this recipe. Now, during this time, it's typically customary to have an apple cake or a honey cake, but we're going to do things a little bit differently. Because while every family has their own apple cake recipe or honey cake recipe, it's hard to know which way to go because every single family will always tell you that theirs is the best. Let me get the facts straight. My family's recipe, my Auntie Ethel's recipe for an apple cake is the absolute best, and my mom's buckwheat honey cake is pretty awesome. So that's why we're gonna do something a little bit different, because I grew up learning to cook from my buddy. And every time I would try to master one of her recipes, I'd give it to her excited and say, how is it? How does it taste? She'd take a little bite and say, hers was better. So this is my own, and I'll tell you right now that mine is better. So let's begin. We are going to start with 6 Granny Smith apples that I've peeled and sliced. I like mine sliced because it gives it a little bit more texture, but if you want it a little bit smaller, you can dice. And I also like to use a Granny Smith apple because they have a little bit more tang, a little bit more tooth, and it will give us a little bit more texture, but use whatever apple you have on hand at home. To this, I'm gonna add a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon, a tablespoon of all-purpose flour, about 2 tablespoons of honey, and we'll be putting more in the topping. And then of course, a tablespoon and a half of freshly grated or minced ginger. And then I'm gonna squeeze half a lemon into here as well. Perfect. So my oven is preheating to 350 right now, and I'm going to bake this in a cast iron pan. You can use a pie plate or a cake pan, something between 8 to 10 inches will fit this amount. And when you put it in, you're going to say, that looks like way too much filling, but it shrinks quite a bit as it bakes, and it has a long bake time of 50 minutes. So don't worry, be patient, and I promise you, this is pretty foolproof. So now that our apples are all mixed with our cinnamon, ginger, and honey mixture, we are going to add those to a greased pie plate or cast iron pan. So I've greased mine with coconut oil to make this dairy-free so that you can serve it whether you're having meat, chicken, fish, pretty much whatever. But feel free to use butter if you're having a dairy or non-meat meal. So I've added all of my apples to my pan, and I'm just gonna set that to the side. I love that Rosh Hashanah falls between September and October because it is prime apple season, so it makes a lot of sense that we're eating apples during this time anyways. And even better if there's an apple orchard, you can go picking with your family or your loved ones. That's such a great activity to then come and make this. It's pretty nice. Let's get the crumble going. So I've got a 1.5 cups of oats and flour. I'm gonna add that. You can use all-purpose flour, oat flour, whole wheat flour, whatever flour you like. I'm also gonna add walnuts. Just makes it a little bit nutty and rich. And as promised, some more honey. Beautiful. If you're serving someone who's vegan and they don't eat honey at Rosh Hashanah, that's totally okay. You could use maple syrup, agave, or even just sugar in this as well. Another little bit of cinnamon, some melted coconut oil or butter, or you could even use canola oil. I've even made this with olive oil. It's such a foolproof recipe. It's so simple, but it's so yummy. And then of course, a little bit more ginger. If you're having a hard time cutting your ginger, it's actually a lot easier to do so if you've kept it in the freezer. It just takes away some of that stringiness. Perfect, so we're just gonna mix this until it's nice and combined. Growing up, Rosh Hashanah was always one of my favorite holidays because I loved the food, I loved going and sitting with my grandpa and my dad and I'd braid his little tellies, like the little prayer shawl has the strings on the bottom. I would braid it. I don't think I listened to anything, but I loved just being there with family. And that's really what Jewish holidays are all about, for me at least. It's about sitting, enjoying a great meal, being with my loved ones, and just having a little bit of time to reflect. And especially with Rosh Hashanah, with it, it's the start of the new year, you can really reflect on the year past and the year ahead. And it's just a really lovely holiday, not to mention I love the food. Awesome. I've made a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. So I've got my crumble topping good to go. Let's top this up. Yum. There are other traditional foods that we eat on Rosh Hashanah, like around challah. We might have one that's round with raisins and braided so beautifully to also represent kind of the circle of life and the end and the beginning, which is really great. And I know growing up, we used to always enjoy having that, and we would have a big roasted chicken or a brisket. And then for Yom Kippur, because that's when you fast, we would do a dairy lunch after with like lox and bagels and these blintzes, and it was really delicious. So hopefully I'll be able to share some of those recipes with you as well, in a way that we can all put our own unique twist on it. So it's all covered, it looks amazing, it already smells good. My fingers are sticky. I'm gonna go give them a wash and pop this in the oven for about 50 minutes. So this is going to be in the oven for about 50 minutes, and we're gonna take it out. It looks so delicious. Perfect. And so the way to test if your crisp is done is to take a small knife, a paring knife, and just put it through one of the apples. And if it comes out nice and easily and it's nice and tender, then you're all set. This smells so good. I wish you could smell it through the screen. The apples are nice and tender, the top is nice and crispy, that ginger, it's cutting through, and the cinnamon is perfect for autumn. This is my new favorite Rosh Hashanah dessert. It's so much simpler than an apple cake, where there's 1, 2, 3, 500 of you. It's so easy to make in big quantities or small quantities. It is perfect, especially served with a big scoop of vanilla, dairy, or non-dairy ice cream, depending on what you eat for dinner. Yes, please. I know that I'll be serving this at my holiday meal. And I will be serving it in this cast iron, so I'm just gonna pop this towel on top to stop me from burning my hand, which I suggest you do as well. And I really hope that this video inspired you to make your holiday menu your own. You don't have to follow a traditional family recipe. You can be inspired just by the customs and traditions of Jewish cuisine. And I hope that I'm able to give you that inspiration as well. You can think of me kind of as your Jewish best friend in the kitchen. Ask me anything, I'm here to help, and I hope that I can get you excited about Jewish cuisine, especially when you can put your own twist on it. Thanks so much. Now let's have a taste.